My name is Leo Connors, and welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. And tonight, I got a special guest, great friend of the show, Maverick Wild. Mav?
Leo, I'm glad to be back for my 500th episode.
500th? Yeah.
Really?
No, but you've been up there for about probably 14.
Yeah, there should be a party.
Yeah.
Should be rock bands.
It just goes right off.
Yeah.
All right. Mav, since you've been on the show, you have a new family member.
I certainly do. I have my little grandson, Landon, who was born just over a month ago.
Nice.
He is my son. He's my son's son.
Yeah.
Him and his lovely wife, Kayla. I've already embarrassed them and put pictures online that I shouldn't have because they don't want that and taken them down. But of course, I'm very proud, and I'm very happy. It's weird because
it's a different kind of love. Well, it really is, because you can give them back.
It's not just that. It's like, when you're raising kids and you know it, you're going through it and they screw up or you screwed up on something with them.
Yeah.
And it's like you're never sure of yourself. And it's not like you're at the end of the race, but you start seeing, wow, my kids are actually doing okay for themselves.
Right.
And now they're bringing other people into the world, and these are okay people that are bringing in and probably going to raise another okay person.
Yes.
And fills my heart with joy.
That's awesome.
It's the best way to put it. Sounds overly dramatic, but that's the way it feels.
Nope, I understand completely. Mm-hmm. My grandson, I don't feel that way about my grandson right now because he's 16 years old.
Oh, yeah, well, that's different,
he's mouthy sometimes.
Well, the son that has borne me a grandson, I mean, the things that he did over the years that would irritate me, that would be beyond belief.
Right.
One time he was home and we were on the Cape and he said, the car won't start. I don't think the starter's working. So when you do that, when the starter goes down, you can go in and tap on it with a hammer sometimes. It'll get it to turn over.
Yeah.
Well, he was tapping on on a transmission feed line. Instead, he broke all the spilled all the transmission fluid all over the place. Yeah, or he ran he was bad on vehicles. One time he ran a truck halfway between 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive. It was my truck. Tore the transfer case out of it, ruined it.
Wow.
Oh yeah. So you remember these little things?
Yeah.
Or where he's shooting a BB gun at an apartment tenement. But you remember these little things, and now he's all grown up, and you look at him and go, you know what? You're going to have to deal with your kid shooting a BB gun at an apartment tenement.
Yeah.
You're going to have to deal with all these headaches.
Yep.
I hope you've been prepared for it, But
yep. You can't wait for it to happen to him.
No, not exactly. Maybe a little, because,
Right.
I think part of being a grandparent is a little bit of revenge on your actual children.
There you go. All right. That's a good way to look at it. All right. Well, how's life in general?
How much? That's good. I mean, of course I got problems. Everybody's got problems.
Right.
Since I got out of the hospital, one of the things I'm learning is not to ignore your problems, but to work on the ones that actually matter.
Yeah.
And then some things are just annoying and leave them behind you. You don't.
Right.
54, you don't have time to screw around with, minor annoyances.
Right.
No matter how often they may come up.
Yeah. And they come up quite often, I'm sure, because they do in my life.
But, my life is pretty good right now.
Good.
I make decent money.
Yeah.
I have a new job.
So you're up on
same
the
place. No, I'm not up on the roof. So,
okay.
No. Well, that's the bad end of it. My health is horrible.
Okay.
But I have a job. I work in the office.
Yeah.
I couldn't work on a roof anymore.
No.
People ask me, "You coming back to wrestling?" I can't even go back on a roof.
Right.
Never mind wrestling.
Yeah.
But that's going okay. I seem to be pretty good at the job. It's the same place I was working for. They just gave me another job.
Yeah.
Everything's very great with Dale. We just had her family's holiday party over the house this weekend.
Nice.
My daughter's good. She's gainfully employed. She's got a career. She's got a boyfriend. She's lives on her own.
Nice.
And, me and Dale empty nest out sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we look around like, live in this massive. You've never been to my house.
No.
It's 6 bedrooms.
What?
6 bedrooms in my house.
Wow.
The only thing most people have seen out of my house was, like several months ago, I
Yeah.
showed a picture of like I was rebuilding the gym down there, which I can't use anymore because my body's too screwed up.
Right.
And then the pipes burst down in the cellar. So you get my cellar looks like a dungeon. Okay, it's with weight equipment.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the house is built in about 1850, and it's all open, exposed, hand-hewn beams and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I look like I live in like a cross between an Applebee's and a museum. It really is. And it's just,
wow.
It's quite a place. We used to have parties over there for the wrestlers. We won't do that anymore because there was a lot of stuff that was back when I was drinking. And
a lot of crazy things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely can imagine. I think I've even heard a couple.
But we're talking about that, but at the same time, we're talking about looking at all this empty space and stuff. And while I have the mortgage paid off on it, I did have to take a second on it when my father's business went down to pay for some of those expenses. Now we're just about out underneath it. And now, unfortunately, I have to look at, I am 54 years old.
Yeah.
This is a very, very old house with very unique architecture.
Right.
I can't really keep up with it anymore.
No. Think you're going to sell and downsize?
At some point, I think the only other option would be to turn it into like a duplex.
Right.
And I don't know if I want the problem of having tenants.
Of having a tenant. Yeah,
exactly. Because I've seen how you treat your landlord.
Oh,
Screw
man,
that.
I hate neighbors. That's what I hate.
Yeah.
The best neighbors are, hi, and then they walk away. That's my neighbors. You know?
But things are all going good. I'm training guys up at Next Gen Wednesdays. Mostly, I end up there usually 3 times a month instead of 4.
Right.
I'm traveling all the way from Springfield basically Manchester. It's actually Auburn, but so it's over 2 hours.
Right.
But I prefer it there over other places, so I go there.
Nice. Now, you get the neighborhood in there sometimes on Wednesday?
The neighborhood are always there.
Nice.
And in fact, I could even go over how a lot of the classes.
Yeah,
start. A lot
please
of them,
do.
So. Really, I go in there on Wednesdays and we start preparing. Now, usually I have Monty and Kid V. They take them through quick drills, blowing them up and stuff. And I can do that. And when they're not there, I will do it. It's not really what I think my major function is there for.
Right.
And then what happens usually is we just start watching. They have enough, other guys come in with a very concise plan of what they're going to do that night.
Right.
I prefer to look at and see what is this. That Wednesday night is like the workshop, I feel. We're looking at what precisely you're doing wrong.
Right.
Or what precisely you could do to improve certain things and how to wrestle as you, meaning if you are a professional wrestler, just because you know how to do a power bomb, would you as a person do a power bomb? Things of that nature. You wrestle as who you are.
Right.
Those are the most nebulous concepts in professional wrestling. They are.
Yeah.
And they're hard, but that's why the class is mostly guys that are starting to have matches or on the verge of having matches. And not that we don't get some of the greener guys during that period too, but that seems to be what the Wednesday night class is developing into.
Nice. Roadhouse is there, right?
Yes, Roadhouse, Monty, Kid V.
Yeah. Will Duncan? Or is Will at the other one?
I think is at the other one.
Okay. Elite Pro Wrestling Academy.
And really, you're gonna, like I was there over a year ago, and I'm watching the development of younger guys.
Yeah.
That I'm an encourager, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So we have this one guy wrestling. His name is Alex. He calls himself the Maestro.
Okay.
And Alex is shorter. And when he first came in, he was probably about 230 pounds.
Wow.
Which is
I
mean, he's about 5'6", I want to say. So he's carrying a decent amount of weight.
Right.
And athletically, he didn't think he was keeping up. And then one night, a couple of the guys laughed at him because he screwed something up. Nothing bad, nothing egregious, nothing to make him feel bad about himself. I said, yep, we're all laughing. We're all laughing right now. You know what your job is now, Alex? You got to prove them wrong and make them eat their goddamn words.
There you go.
So he's down to about 175, 180 pounds at this point.
That's good. He's working hard.
A kid that thought he had no athletic ability whatsoever, we got him doing backflips and all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
that's cool.
And I know that's not really wrestling, but it's just
still
an indication of the athletics he he's capable of that he didn't even know.
Right.
You know.
He probably never thought he could do that.
Or we got guys like Gunnar Moody, who I have a special affinity with Gunnar Moody because he's one of the few wrestlers that come from my area.
Oh, really?
There's been very few wrestlers in my particular area of northern Worcester County. You know, like Mikey Webb, I believe, is from Lunenburg. That's kind of close. I think even Dijak might be from that area.
I thought he was from around Worcester. That's what I heard.
I think he lives around the Lunenburg area.
Oh, yeah?
I only know because I've heard him tell stories about Whalen Park.
Okay.
So, that would be around that area.
Yeah.
So my area really doesn't have a lot of wrestlers, so I have a lot of interest in just seeing, just personal interest in seeing this guy succeed and do better. And we're talking another guy, he's a big kid, but I mean, he's lost about 50 pounds himself.
Wow.
He's probably had about half a dozen matches so far. Right. So they're starting to come out of the school now and
start to work, right?
Now it's time to start seasoning them.
Right. Right.
Which is kind of what I want to try and help do.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, you debuted as a manager.
Yeah.
Recently. For who?
That would have been for Larry Huntley.
Okay. NAWA.
Yes. So Larry Huntley was having a show at Skips, and I volunteered to go up and take some of the guys, and I figured I'd be there, and if they had wanted any advice or whatever, I'd feed it to them. So then Larry goes, okay, you're managing that guy and that guy. So I was dressed worse than I am now, okay? You see, everybody see these boots covered in crap. Okay, that's what I went up to the ring with. I'm not proud of it.
You used to wear those on the roof.
Yes, yeah. Pair of roofing jeans.
You can tell.
Dicky T-shirt. I was like, yeah, I'm a flamboyant manager here. Oh boy. I was like, Larry, I wish you'd give me a little warning. I'd have picked up a sparkly jacket or something.
Do you remember who you managed?
Yeah.
All right.
It was. I work with a kid all the time at the school too, and I'm gonna lose his name. His name is Mike, and he does an anarchist gimmick.
Okay.
And I think that was basically his first match, besides maybe a battle royal. So Larry probably wanted me to, shore up the two younger guys and stuff. And he was working with Gunnar. Like I said, did about 6 matches.
Right.
So Larry puts me out there to kind of direct traffic. At first, I didn't know what the hell it, because honestly, if you think about it, how much managing have I actually done?
No, but you know what to do, though.
Well, I didn't know for like the first 3 or 4 minutes. I'm just out there just doing grossest, goofiest things I can to get some attention.
Yeah.
But then I realized, well, no, you're supposed to get these guys over dummy and start working for them instead of, just for a cheap reaction from the crowd. But it was strange. I mean, I am so out of shape, just running around the ring to attack people. I'm like,
that's funny.
I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Larry's like, what did you do out there? I'm like, nothing.
Now, what was it, the first match of the night?
Second, I think. Second, yeah.
And then you came back out later with somebody else, right?
No,
you only did one match.
No, and that leads into another. I would like to do more managing, but the problem is we're also training managers at Next Gen, and I don't want to be responsible for.
I hear you.
While it's nice to be able to go to ringside and actually help out the matches, at the same time, I don't want to take somebody's spot.
Right. No, I hear you. You're right.
I may just continue to do it on Larry's shows because Larry will probably be using a lot of the guys straight out of the school, and it would be helpful.
Now, at Next Gen, is it just Roadhouse the only manager, or is there other
Oh, no,
kids
there's other guys.
Really?
Yeah.
That want that training to be managers?
There's at least 3, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
3 including Roadhouse, or like 4?
Like 4 at least.
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
there's quite a few.
No kidding. That's all I would have ever did. Like, if I would have ever tried to get into wrestling, I would have did it as a manager. But I never really thought of even getting in the business. And everybody says to me, why? I'm like, I just never wanted to.
It's a lot of fun.
Guess.
I mean, I have fun with it.
Right.
I still do. And in fact, I'm just starting to have fun with it again,
Nice. Excellent. Well, before we play the name game, I think we should at least talk about some other sports. So then I don't have to for another couple months.
There you go.
All right. End of an era. Bill Belichick. 24 years with the Patriots, 6 Super Bowl wins, the most of any coach.
Mm-hmm.
Most Super Bowl appearances, 9.
Can I admit something to you?
Yeah.
I have actually taken a little bit of pleasure in the last 2 or 3 years, not because they were losing per se, but because you had, let's call it, it's more with the Red Sox, but let's call it the pink hat factor.
Yep.
Where I used to watch, I remember going to a bar in Clinton, Massachusetts in 1985 to watch the Patriots get stomped like a narc at a biker rally. It was bad, okay? And that was one of their best moments because they actually went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, against the Bears, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was horrible.
It was a horrible, horrible, horrible thing to witness. You wondered how they got there in the first place.
Yep.
They had Refrigerator Perry running in.
That really got me mad because Walter Payton didn't get a touchdown.
Yeah,
and the Refrigerator did. That's
I know.
bull.
Yeah.
I'm still mad about that. I am, though. It's so wrong. It's so wrong.
What are you going to do?
One of the greatest running backs of all time, and they give the ball to a 375-pound guy who obviously is going to score.
They give the ball to they give the ball to gender swapped Nia Jax. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nia Jax. Oh, I got it. All right. Before I go anywhere else, I'll
Okay.
go back to the Patriots in a second. You said Nia Jax. What's your opinion of her?
She's dangerous.
I think she's sloppy.
She's dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah, she's
absolutely.
dangerous. She could have a lot of effect at her size. Frankly, she doesn't really have to do that much, and she doesn't really do that much. But I think she'd be better out doing even less because she's dangerous. People get hurt working with her.
Yeah,
that's a terrible reputation to have in professional wrestling.
Absolutely. I'm not a big fan of Nia Jax because of that. I even seen one of her first matches back, the bonsai drop. She didn't even grab the rope.
No,
and I'm sorry, but you're that big, you're gonna hit.
Yeah, she did that to Rhea Ripley, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. See.
Yeah. And that's bull. Like you said, I mean, you can't, unsafe wrestlers are the worst wrestlers.
They are. Well,
unsafe ones for sure. All right, back to the Pats for a minute.
Sorry about that.
Belichick had 31 playoff wins. Think about that. You only play like 3 games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you win the Super Bowl.
Well, I remember at one point the team was, they had literally almost gone to the Super Bowl every other year.
Yeah.
In like a 12, 13-year period. It was crazy. It was,
Yeah.
nobody else, that'll be pretty tough to top.
Right.
But like I said, I did take a bit of pleasure when they were losing, and not because the team was losing, but more like the reaction of the Pink Hats. Because their reaction was, this is the way it is. This is the way it's always going to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, you never sat and watched. You never saw, you never saw 1 in 15 seasons.
Right.
You never saw Steve Grogan running the quarterback sneak every third down.
Nope.
In a neck brace, in a cast.
Oh, he was incredible.
Oh,
he was so much fun to
He's
watch.
my favorite quarterback. He always will be. I don't think he's the best. He's not even close.
He was great, though.
But
he was great.
favorite, that guy would not stop.
Yep.
He would just no matter how bad the team was, he wouldn't stop trying.
And it's funny because back then the Patriots were so bad. Like me as a little kid, as a young kid, I was like, oh, I like the Cowboys then because they're winning.
And I like
the 49ers.
I like how massively corporate it's been. People don't actually understand the history of the Patriots.
Right.
When they first built Schaefer Stadium, they had massive plumbing problems in that. Before they opened the stadium, like 2 days before they did it, they had to station everybody at the toilets all around the stadium and flush them all simultaneously to make sure they didn't all back up because they had nothing but problems with them.
Right.
I mean, the stadium was only built for like $1 million, and I know it was back then, but still, that was not much money for a stadium.
Yeah.
And they don't remember things like, you remember the Patriots were banned off of Monday Night Football for years?
Because Billy Sullivan?
No, because the fans were so rowdy. They were whipping stuff onto the field. They think they were batteries. They went nuts.
Wow.
So they did that on a Monday. They did that on Monday night one night. They're like, yeah, you're not coming back on here.
That sounds like Puerto Rico wrestling.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Puerto Rico. Batteries. Piss.
Like when people get on, like fans from like Philadelphia or Buffalo. No offense, we weren't any better.
Right?
We were probably worse because did you ever go to the old Foxborough Stadium?
No, never. No, my dad used to have a trip, and my brother was old enough to go with him.
Okay.
I was in his eyes, still too young.
So you work in schools. You must have seen like big, long stainless steel hand washing stations.
Yeah.
Well, this was a big, long stainless steel trot that you pissed in.
Oh yeah, I've seen those trots.
Yeah, it was all
the old Fenway.
Yeah, yes, that's true. They did have them at the old Fenway as well.
Yeah, back in the early '70s.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, the place was a dump and a crap hole, you know. And it was never, you know, it had cheap ownership, and they didn't spend any money, and so now it was kind of amused me the last 2 or 3 years to see it all swing back and nobody knowing how to deal with it. It really kind of made me giggle a little. I must admit. Oh, they're losing. Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah, well, and they bring it in Jared Mayo as the new coach. A lot of people saying Vrabel. The only thing I'll say about Vrabel, if we would have had Vrabel, you would have had a real good chance of getting Derrick Henry. Because Derrick Henry, the running back for Tennessee, loves Vrabel.
Yes.
And guaranteed, he's going to go wherever he goes.
Yeah.
You know? And that's...
unfortunately, that's a running back, and you have to wonder, how long, has it been 4 years or 5?
Probably 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they only have, what do you say, like 7, 8 years?
7 or 8.
Yeah, I hear you.
They get pounded.
I hear you.
You know?
They do.
And especially him, if you watch him run.
I mean, that's how he runs. He runs right at you.
He's like, who is it? It was... they used to call it, he was like Mr. 4 yards for the Patriots. They used to have him return kicks sometimes, too. Yeah. What running back was that? I can't remember.
Mercury Morris?
No. We're going way.
Randy Vitale?
We're going way closer, like 2014, 2015.
Okay, return kicks?
Was it Blunt?
Patterson?
Was it Blunt that I'm thinking of?
Blunt might have, but I think there was a guy... Cordell Patterson did it for a couple of years.
Cordell Patterson was hilarious.
And he was pretty good, though.
Oh, he'd get them long. He was like an ostrich. He'd get them long legs moving. He'd get the ball. It's like,
I think he got 1 touchdown.
Yeah, guys, reach up and grab the ball from him.
Yeah, I know. He's huge.
Yeah.
But, man, I think he's still returning kicks.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know for who, but I'm pretty sure he still is.
Yeah.
In the league,
but you know, I would worry if you had Henry because he's going to have that mileage piles up quick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, before we play the name game, I just wanted to bring up that at ROH, the first Massachusetts show they put on, you and Alex Arion came out and had a match, and I was flipping out because I'm like, oh my God, this is with Ring of Honor, right? And I know ROH just started, but I was already into it. I follow, you know me, I love the indies.
Yeah.
And but that night, after seeing you guys in the ring and, you know, watching the match, I'm like, how can I be a part of this? And that's the catering thing. But I'll never forget that you guys were first, and I was flipping out. The guy that I went with, Steve, who are they? Because he's not an independent wrestler fan. He just came with me. It was awesome. But good thing I had him because he took the picture of me with Feinstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I would, like I said to him, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I had a picture taken with it. He goes, yeah, you're the only one that asked for a picture.
Did you end up on how to catch a TV cable?
No. That's, oh yeah. Did you ever see the video they have of him coming to the door?
And I ran so far away.
Yeah. Ran to his Lexus.
I hope I didn't violate a copyright law there.
No, I hope not. I hope not. All right, let's play the name game.
Sure.
And I've been thinking a lot about this guy lately. Kid Crazy.
There's a guy I miss tremendously. You know, I still talk to his mom every once in a while.
That's nice.
Yeah, she's, you know, he was, you need more workers in the area like crazy.
Right.
A guy I think could just, you know, and I'm just talking through it. I'm just talking about his usefulness to wrestling. You need more guys that can actually just jump in a ring and not
wrestle anybody.
And just wrestle anybody.
Yeah.
And as long as his attitude was right. That was a bit of a problem with Jared. I think we can all admit that at this point. And if he didn't like you, you were going to know about it.
Yeah.
A lot. But, you know, but when he was on, I mean, when he really wanted the match to be good, there was nobody better at just getting in and pounding it out and figuring out what needed to be done as he went, you know. And on top of that, I love the guy. I really did, you know.
I know you did, for sure.
I don't miss some of the 2 o'clock in the morning phone calls, but yeah, you know what? that's not true. I could really use a couple of them 2 o'clock in the morning phone calls from him.
Right.
You know, I miss him, actually.
I hear you.
If I'm going to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, there'd be worse people to wake up for.
That is true. But very true. All right, how about a guy that doesn't get mentioned on here that much, and he's a trader also, Bob Evans.
Oh,
Brutal
Bob was just up at Next Gen about 8 weeks
nice.
ago. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about Bob before, how we have very on and off relationship. Right now, it's pretty on.
Good.
You know, because I talked to him about, he has more experience as a trainer than I have.
Oh, he's trained so many
So
people.
I tap into him and
Yeah.
listen, what should I do here? You know,
Right.
how would you handle this situation? I got this guy that can't get this move, this very basic move down. We're having a mental block. Have you ever dealt with this?
Right.
You know, things of that nature. It's good to talk to Bob. Plus, I like Bob. I like shooting the shit with him.
Right.
You know, he can be kind of abrasive sometimes, but so can I. So, you know, it's a usually good match, but then we're both being abrasive, then it's not a good match.
Right. All right, how about Tarzan Taylor?
Tarzan Taylor, Mr. Matt Spectro.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. The man I busted wide open on a show one time and hit him with a chair.
Yeah.
And the chair came open and the back steel piece waffled him right across the back of the head.
Yeah.
He hit the mat, and I got to tell you, it's one of the few times I ever looked and said, uh-oh, I think I killed somebody. He hit the ground.
Right.
What a puddle of blood. I was like, whoa, oh boy. But Matt was, Rip used to call him a mope. Not because he was a bad guy, but because he was always talking very slowly and, you know, sound a little like Eeyore, you know. But no, he did. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to work with Chad again. Oh. Which she probably liked to work with Chad. That's just a shot at your coworker there. But Tarzan was a good worker, nice tall guy.
Yep.
You know, probably should have went further actually at his size and his ability, because he was actually very good.
Right.
Because when I was running my own shows, when he was getting ready basically to stop working, he was actually one of the guys I would use as an experienced guy. I saw him pull a match out of a terrible guy that I was like, I don't know if I could have done that, you know.
Right.
So I have a lot of respect for Tarzan. He's big into the comic books now. He does a podcast about comic books and things of that nature. Yeah.
All right, so next, terrible guy. Who is it? Terrible guy, you just said.
Huh?
You just said you seen him pull a match out of a terrible guy.
Oh, that'd be Dan Thunder. If Dan Thunder is not a terrible person, Dan Thunder was not a good wrestler.
Okay.
And I don't think Dan Thunder would get on my case for saying that, because I know Dan Thunder knows he wasn't a particularly great professional wrestler.
Right.
Yeah, he was a good guy though. He would get himself into trouble and say stupid things, and you know, but really he was a good guy. I like Dan. He just wasn't much of a wrestler.
All right. How about El Mascarado?
Oh, Bert?
Yeah. Bert Centennial?
I got a story.
Is that how you say it? Yes.
I got a story. So the old TV tapings used to be a cattle call, and you know, and basically what Chief Strongbow would do, and he was the guy in charge at one point of getting everybody.
Okay.
Basically, to make his life easier, he would call people he knew, like he would call Phil Apollo.
Yep.
Said, I need 3 or 4 guys for TV, and he'd get me and Scott Taylor and a few other guys together.
Right.
And then that's how we do TV. I lost my train of thought there. What were we talking about?
Oh, no, you're going to ask me that, Bert.
Yeah, Bert. So, yes. So, Bert, I don't think was supposed to be there, but him and Tony Royce showed up just on a chance of getting some work. And they got on, and, you know, but then Bert was being a little pushy about the hotel room money and stuff like that.
Wow.
And it's like, you're really not, normally you get away with that, but it was like, you really just kind of showed up. You really don't, you know, probably shouldn't be all that pushy. And I was tired. I wanted to get home, and so Bert kind of lived close to where I did at the time. So I'm like, oh, I'm not tired. I'll drive. And I'm driving. And Bert, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I saw the car start to spike in temperature, but it was almost a Fitchburg where I'd left my car. And I just kept driving. I'm pretty sure I blew up Bert's engine.
Oh, no.
So, Bert, if you're out there, I feel really sorry for you, because I'm always getting along with you. I've worked with Bert a couple times. It's always been fine.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I blew up Bert's car for him.
Nice. See that? All right. Bert's not mentioned enough on the show. He really isn't.
In a way,
I don't bring him up enough, and I think that's going to change.
He was almost in a generation before. It was like a crossover. He had been working probably about 10 years already by the time I came around. So he was kind of a little like before my time, but he's always kept current and
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, Bert's a good guy. I don't mind. I like Bert.
All right. How about Brandon Locke?
I will say this always about Brandon Locke. That guy is much like Kid Crazy. He's like really one of the guys that can go in and just do his match.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to talk about it much. I wish Brandon, and I understand his life is busy. I wish he would concentrate on working more consistently.
Right.
I don't even know if he's working at this point because he's really good. I remember when I did my comeback. He was really one of the. I had okay matches, but with him I had a really good one, and it was because he could just work that style, because I was at the point where I wasn't going to be covering for people, and I wasn't going to drag people along with me anymore.
Right.
They had to kind of know what I did to make it work, and he did,
Nice. Yeah, he's very. I've always thought he was a very talented wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
How about a guy that's killing it right now? The asshole Mike McCarthy.
So, I talk to Mike sometimes, and I think Mike was on the show here at one point.
He was not too long ago.
Yeah,
probably 2-3 months ago.
He basically mentioned what is the truth. It's like we don't talk that much, but when we do, it's fairly intelligent. He's been very complimentary of me.
Nice.
Seems to think I'm at least a very stand-up guy, and I think the same of him.
He's pretty right.
Now I remember him. I actually remember when I was down in the Chaotic Gym years and years and years ago. Wasn't he doing like a Tommy Knoxville gimmick at one point?
Yes.
I believe it was him who showed up. He was about half the size he is now.
Yeah.
Not that he's huge now.
No, I hear you.
He's about half the size, same crew cut, little fresh-faced punk rocker. And I was like, that's, you're going to look meaner for this to work. And now he looks meaner. So,
but he fit that character, don't you think? I mean, 100%.
Oh, yeah, of course
it was
he does.
really, really good. Yeah.
That's all him, yes.
Yeah. And like I said, he's been killing it. He really has,
I was just watching him on a show in Maine, and so you go to these shows in Maine, and these are shows are a little more entertainment heavy.
Right.
It's a bar crowd. I mean, you got to get them involved.
Oh yeah.
So and really, he was probably one of the best at working in front of that environment.
Right.
I mean, he's in a punk rock and all that whole scene.
Oh yeah.
You put him in a rock club like that, he's at home.
Charisma up the wazoo.
Unbelievable. Yes.
No doubt.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
People like him and they believe in him. It's not just it's they believe in him, and that's hard to get.
Nice. Well, tonight there's a big match on Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
Chad Gable.
Yeah.
Taking on this guy, Handsome Johnny Ivar.
I just recently talked to him.
I'm looking forward to this match.
I look forward to anything he does.
Yeah, he's incredible. He really is.
Now, I haven't watched how they're setting it up. Hoping they give him some time.
Well, he's been winning all his
I have noticed
matches.
that. They do seem to have some.
Yeah.
They're trying it out at the very least,
Right.
And if now's the time. I mean, Todd's, I'm not trying to reveal it. Excuse me, Ivar. I'm not trying to reveal anything. He's in his 40s at this point.
Right.
He's been, I remember he was at a point years and years ago just around here where his back was bad enough where he was contemplating stopping.
Yep.
And he's powered through that all. It's been said many times how much, really how much effort and work he put into this. And everything has been such a gradual. Everything he's accumulated has been so gradual, so gradual. He's got to be close to 30 years in this at this point, if you think about it.
And so much heart. Yeah. Like you said, right? Like all the injuries. And he just kept working and kept, you know what I mean? And just kept coming. And he got it.
Then you think, and now he's still gaining on it. Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's such a gradual progression. Now he's looking like, let's test him.
Yep.
Now let's see if he can do this on his own. Let's see if he can get some heat on his own. Let's see if he can raise up to the next level.
Right.
And it's very encouraging. And you know what? I think he'll do it because he's never failed to answer the call. Never.
Right.
That's why he's always been one of my favorite workers.
Yeah.
He always rises to the occasion. He always has.
And a lesser man would have quit. With all those
And
injuries.
you know what? You wouldn't have blamed him either.
Exactly.
Because who wants to live like that? I mean, at some point, you do have to make a determination.
Right.
This is too much for my body. For me, it was about 40,
Yeah.
And actually, it was about 39, and I fired it around for another year. And,
Yeah.
you have to make a determination when enough is enough on your body.
Right.
And he's just powered through it all.
There he
and
has.
You're talking a guy that's probably, I think, legit about 310, 315 pounds.
Yep.
The bigger you are, the worse it is on your body.
Right.
It really is.
Right. And he does high flying moves too.
He's learned to space them out.
Yeah.
And not do them all the time, but
Right.
yeah, he does.
Yep.
And, he's quite impressive.
There he is. Very, very, very impressive.
Yeah.
How about another local guy that's right there too? Kofi.
See, I don't know Kofi.
No?
I never get a chance to work with Kofi.
Okay.
I was starting to run my own shows when he broke out. So at that point, I wasn't working a ton of shows other than my own and a few others occasionally. So I spoke to him a few times. He's a nice enough guy,
Right.
I mean, honestly, I probably know Carmelo a little better, but I wouldn't claim to know him,
Well, you just said it. Carmelo Hayes.
So just by watching him, he's enormous. I've seen him over the years. I remember when he broke in doing that very silly Michael Jackson gimmick around here. Did you ever see that?
Oh, yeah. The Thriller of New England.
Yeah. So
he killed that gimmick, too.
Yeah,
He really did.
That should be a lesson to people. Sometimes when you're handed a plate of crap,
Yeah.
if you're really good, you can spice that crap up. And if they're not looking too hard, you can feed people that crap. Okay? Now, that sounds crude. What I'm saying is when you can make something it's an old saying, when you can make chicken salad out of chicken crap, they start paying attention. Tommaso was the same way. Tommaso did one of the worst gimmicks you could possibly ever do in this area. Thomas penmanship.
What was that supposed to be, like a feather pen?
A feather pen and a poofy shirt.
Yeah.
So I talk to Jamie sometimes too.
Yeah.
Jarkowski, I don't know how to
Jay
pronounce his
Mikowski.
last name. There you go, Jamakowski, right? And he hated. We had Handsome as Don Chesterfield, like an aristocrat.
Yep.
And Jamie hated that gimmick, and he would complain about it. And I'd look at him, I don't want to hear about it. You get Thomas penmanship,
Right. That is fun. I remember that.
When you can overcome crap like that, it's like kind of hard to deny you.
Right.
know?
Back when Tommaso had a good amount of hair.
Yeah.
Back
Oh
then.
yeah. Yes.
And
a big nose that I unfortunately broke for him.
They teamed him back up with Johnny Gargano, and they definitely got incredible chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? Is it worth putting them back together again after they had all those matches against each other with no storyline to put them back together?
Sometimes when I come on here and I'm critiquing national guys, I feel like a little hypocritical. It's like, who the hell am I? But,
You're a wrestler.
But so here's the thing with Johnny Gargano. That's his name.
Johnny
right?
Gargano.
It's just. There's a complete lack of facial expression.
Jim Cornette says that all the time. He calls him man same face.
Yeah, I've
That's
heard
what he calls him.
Yeah, but and it's accurate. It's not there. He does really good moves.
Yeah.
He's as far as his in-ring stuff, usually it mostly makes sense.
Right.
So as far as a work, but there's just. He's attached to Tommaso. It's not the other way around.
Right. And I wish he wasn't.
That's the way it feels like. And
Tommaso can go far.
They were trying Tommaso at one point, and they backed off for some reason. I never understood that because he was getting over.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not a big Johnny Gargano gargle a lot. I don't know what his name is.
I mean, I don't mind him. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, I wish Tommaso was alone.
There's nothing wrong with him, but now you're talking about next step guys, and I don't think he's he's not a next step guy.
No, he's at the highest. He's an upper mid card guy.
Like if you look at guys like Sami Zayn and stuff like that, who's not all that big,
right?
Maybe doesn't even have the best look, but he has personality.
Yes,
and
he can work.
Probably does the same. Probably does things. He can do things similar. Yeah. So
absolutely.
That's why he makes the step up.
Right.
Seriously.
I hear you. I'm a Sami Zayn fan too,
Yeah.
and I really am. I like the guy, and I love Kevin Owens.
I like his work. I could do without the jackass match.
Right.
Yeah.
That was funny, though. I think that was funny. See, again, I take wrestling, dispel belief, have fun with it, and I laughed and laughed and laughed.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
To me, it goes against personally how I would have a match.
No, I hear you.
You know,
I can see wrestlers not liking it.
I have learned over the years to go, listen, that's what they do over there, and you may have to go do that over there, and you have my blessing to go do that over there, but don't expect me to talk nicely about it because I don't like those kind of things.
Mav, I think I should check my phone because you know why?
Why?
Maria bought me a cameo from
Really?
Carmelo Hayes, and my phone was just ringing. Let's see. Nope. My mother. Oh, no, that's not good. No, it isn't, because I call my mom.
Oh, okay.
She don't call me. Uh-oh.
Your money?
No, I don't owe my mother any money. No, I haven't owed my dad any money in probably 30 years, 35 years.
You got me beat. I still hit the old man up.
Yep, nope, not me. All right, but isn't that kind of cool? Maria got me a cameo for my birthday, because my birthday was yesterday.
Yeah.
All right. How about another? Might as well stick with the local guy.
Yeah.
Josh Briggs. Do you have any interactions with Big Josh?
Very little. I've seen his work. I know he got in some trouble there a few years ago.
Yeah.
There was a whole wave of stuff going on there,
Right.
and I do unfortunately think a few guys got wrapped up in it that shouldn't have. I don't know if he's one of them. I don't know. That's not what I'm saying.
Yep.
It was such an intense wave of things that a few people got swept up in it that maybe, and we're of course talking about the Me Too movement and wrestling,
Right.
things of that nature. I don't want to be vague about that, but there were. Anytime there's a rush or a flood like that, when you open up the floodgates, and there were floodgates that need to be opened up.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Sometimes people that don't necessarily need to get washed away in it do.
Right. Unfortunately.
Again, that being said, Josh Briggs, big. I don't even know where he's working. Where is he working right now?
NXT.
Is he in NXT?
Yes. He was in a tag team with Brooke Jensen, and Jensen is Bull Buchanan's son.
Okay. Well,
so they were a good team. And just real quick, and Jensen is big like Josh. So they're 2 6'6" guys.
I mean, he's certainly talented enough at his size. I mean, you can't teach size.
Right.
And the sidebar of that is a lot of time you can't teach that size how to work.
Right.
But he's obviously picked up on that.
Oh yeah. He really is good. And the tag team's over now.
Yeah.
They broke up in good hands, in good graces. And they're pushing him. I think they're starting to push Josh Briggs.
So the only problem I see for him, and if I'm wrong, go ahead. If you think I'm way off base, go ahead and tell me. Is you already have Drew McIntyre on the main, and they actually look very similar. They really do.
Yep.
And I think that hurts him. I mean, that was always. I hate to say it. That was always one of the excuses that Steve Bradley never ended up working for his contract because they already had Rob Van Dam.
Right.
Which I thought was unfair because I like Rob Van Dam, but he didn't work like Steve. That was. I didn't think that was a very.
It's a shame because he had all the talent in the world, and he should have been there.
Yes, he did.
He really should have.
Yes, but back to Josh Briggs. Yeah, he's an extremely talented guy. I've seen his work. It's nice and solid. I don't know what his personality is like, and I don't mean I don't know if he's a jerk, but I mean I don't know what he exudes in front of a crowd. I haven't seen.
No, he's now he's a babyface.
Yep.
He's a babyface, and he's got some charisma.
Yep.
He definitely has some, not over the top.
Yep.
But he's definitely got charisma. They're starting to push him a little bit, and I think he can go far. I really do. And Dijak's still there.
Yes, and I've talked about Dijak before. Him I've talked to a little more. He's a again not like a friend or anything like that. Just I've seen him in action. I've talked to him a few times. He's a level-headed guy. I'll tell you that much. We had him up at Next Gen a little over a year ago.
Oh wow!
The guys liked him a lot. He was very down to earth.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing for me. I don't need to be surrounded by a bunch of aloof, arrogant divas.
Yeah, of course.
So, I like somebody who's like nice and down to earth, and
Yeah,
and
I've always heard that about Dijak. That when he comes back, he really likes to give back.
You know,
to schools.
Yeah. And, but and he was up to school basically telling the guys, we're at the time, Vince McMahon was still in charge. He was basically explaining to them, really, we actually wrestle for an audience of one because if I can't get over with this guy, then nothing else is going to happen.
Right.
And
Exactly.
he went over.
That's a great way. I've never heard anybody say it like that.
Yep. And, he went over, and in this, the way the world is now, the more boxes you check, the better off you are. And sometimes there's boxes you can't check because they use ethnic draws still after all these years. After Bruno and Pedro, they're still going with the ethnic draws.
Yeah.
And so that's, of course, big fat old white guy. I wouldn't be able to check that box.
Right.
But, the more you can do, the better off you are. So he encouraged them to diversify everything they did.
Right.
Because you don't show up on TV just being able to do one thing because they probably have 10 different ideas for you,
Excellent. How about Hurricane John Walters? Another guy that's real good.
The last time I saw him, it was actually bumped into him in your parking lot here.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Yeah. He was doing a show. Was he with Rich?
Yes, he was.
With
That
Rich
was an
Belladino.
awesome show.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was following up. I was there to be I was there to put a wet blanket on everything. I like working with John.
Yeah.
Talented. Early on, John used to, the way he wrestled, I used to call it like a billboard for John Walters because it was all, he'd wrap you up in a million holds and that was his show. That was what he did.
Yep.
And sometimes you get eaten alive.
Right.
Pardon me. He would do it with me occasionally when I first started working with him, and I didn't want to take him out of his game. But I remember specifically one match. I've had enough. And he may not remember this, maybe because I gave him a concussion. But we were outside the ring, and he's chopped me. I just started hitting him as hard as I can, And then we were in the ring, and he had me in this really tight hold. Yeah. I knew the reverse to it, but he also knew it hurt like a son of a bitch to do the reversal. It was like a plum stretch or something.
Well, you probably deserved it. You were beating the crap out of him.
He's got me. He's arched back, and he's got my leg pinned, and I'm on my belly, and I reach over and I grab him by the head, and I pull him over the top of me, and I hear.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
We went a little more even after that.
Yeah, right. I guess so. How about cue ball?
Cue ball is I worked on them a bunch of times when EWA was running shows. I like cue ball. Quiet guy, real quiet guy.
Right.
Really hard working. Not a lot of what you would see at him was not flashy. Right. He was very, very solid. He was a powerful kid. He weighed about 240 pounds.
Yep.
He could move, so it was a nice combination for me. He was a different guy for me to work with because, for a while there, I had been working with mainly guys that were smaller than me.
Right.
And I was never I was never the biggest professional wrestler, so I thought that was weird.
Right.
So there were times I was working with guys that looked like I had 50 pounds on them,
Right.
So then I get in with him, and now it's like, well, this is something more my size.
Yeah.
And, I don't have to use. There's not so much smoke and mirrors at that point, and just go straight at each other.
Yeah.
And that's what I would do with him, and he was perfect at that because he looked tough, and he didn't look like he was going to put up with any crap. And people who used to me acting like a madman. Well, there were times where I don't know if you remember that I used to have hair. It was bleach blonde.
Oh, you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And the robes and stuff like that, because I was like, I was like Make-A-Wish Ric Flair.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, funny.
It wasn't good, But that's what I would try and do on the shows,
Right.
But, so they would react to that, I used to do it with Rip too. There's a certain thing where it looks like the high school jock is beating up on one of your classmates.
Right.
And it used to get heat because it just you look like nobody likes the arrogant fucking quarterback. Go back to all the old movies in the 80s.
Yep.
The college movies. The football team is always the enemy. Revenge of the Nerds.
Yep.
Yep. Ogre. Yeah, it's kind of the situation I'd like to play off of. I'd like to be Ogre.
Nice. Right. I don't want to say who's the better wrestler. But Brian Walsh and Alex Arion. Two of the absolute best out of New England.
Brian was probably a little better physically.
Okay.
Al was way better with the crowd.
Okay.
And he was way better at both sides of it.
Okay.
Brian Walsh, while he wrestled as a heel, I never completely bought him when he did it as a heel.
Right.
Kind of like Rip. Rip was never like
Right.
Rip was the guy who was incapable of being a heel.
Yeah, you needed to put the hood on him for him to be a heel.
Yeah. Brian was not quite as bad, but not the same way.
Right.
Alex, at first, I didn't think he'd be a good heel, but holy God, was he?
Right.
People hated him,
Yeah.
because he came across as mouthy, and arrogant, and he was good.
Yep.
And he didn't fly around as much as some other guys, but Alex is probably overall was probably better than Brian.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I have a new principal at my school.
Yeah.
And she found out I liked independent wrestling, and she asked me if I knew Alex, what's his real last name?
Palkos?
Yes. And I said, oh, Alex Arion. She goes, yes, that's his wrestling name.
Yeah.
How good is he? And I'm like, he's like the best that ever came out of New England.
He was the guy everybody always
Right.
wanted to work with. When I worked for Sheldon, people were constantly trying to get lined up to work with him, myself included.
Right. And like I said, I mean, he really is that good.
Yeah.
One of the absolute best to ever come from here.
Yeah, just so smooth, so easy to work with.
Yep.
Well,
All right. How about somebody stiff? Bobby Ocean. You know Bobby? Bobby's pretty stiff.
oh, he kicked somebody's ear off one
Did he?
time. You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, yeah. Listen, one of the most hilarious conversations you will ever have with Bobby Ocean is like, Bobby, what the hell was your problem? You kicked that kid's ear off. Wasn't my fault. What do you mean it wasn't your fault? Wasn't my fault. How was it your fault? You kicked his ear off, Bob. Wasn't my fault. But he always said, I want to work with you. I said, I like my ears too much.
He is stiff, though. I've heard a lot of people complain
tight.
that he's stiff,
very tight.
yeah.
And I could work
good,
like
too, though.
I could. Yes, he's very good. I could work like that. If he caught me in my mid-30s, yeah, maybe we'd have that match. Catch me now.
Right.
You hit me with one of those things, I might have to stab you.
He does most of his wrestling for Test of Strength and Slick down in Connecticut.
Yeah, he doesn't come out very often anymore.
But he's a great guy, too.
Yeah.
Super guy.
He strikes me as the type of guy that kind of gets sick of the BS that goes on in local wrestling.
Yeah,
so.
well, he's honestly, he's a very soft-spoken guy.
He is. Yeah, oh yeah.
He really is, man.
Yes.
But very nice guy, though.
Plus he gloms onto my buddy Jeremy's movie passes.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. They just went to see The Beekeeper, I think
That's his gimmick. Bobby Ocean, movie critic.
Movie critic. There you go. The stiffest movie critic.
Siskel and Ocean.
How about Billy King?
Oh, I wish he was still working. Billy King was one of my... Billy King, if he had a better look, was probably nearly as good as Alex Arion.
Wow.
Yeah. It was in different ways, but
Right.
I mean...
I only seen him a handful of times.
Another guy that guys would line up around the block to wrestle
no kidding.
because he was a good worker.
Yeah.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
He could be a babyface. He could be a heel.
Nice.
He could fight. He could wrestle.
Yeah.
He could fly around a little. He was just so good, and I wish he was still around.
Right.
Because he was literally one of my favorite wrestlers. He really was.
Nice.
I love Billy King. In fact, one time he's got a brother.
Yeah.
I'm still a jerk. I can't help it. It was his brother's birthday.
Yeah.
And hey, happy birthday. Oh, wait a minute. You're not Billy. Never mind. Thanks, Mav.
Oh, my God. All right. How about Fred Sampson?
Fred Sampson.
Darren Young.
Yes, Darren Young. I worked with Fred.
I know. That's why I'm bringing him up.
I liked Fred. I really liked.
Good worker, too.
I liked Fred. He was another guy.
Yeah.
So soft-spoken.
Yes.
So, oh my God, so soft-spoken, so strong. Oh my God,
Yeah.
you're a bull. He'd pick me up and I was like At the time, I'd probably weighed about 210, and it was like I might as well take 10 pounds.
Right.
I worked. Me and Jeremy worked with him in tag team matches with Rick Fuller.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he was a good time. And you know what? That guy's got balls. You know,
Yeah.
coming out like he did.
No
That's,
doubt.
You know, in a business that is only really starting to accept that now.
Yeah.
You know, only the last couple of years, really.
Yeah, he was one of the first.
Yes, he was.
You know, and he, again, like I said, I mean, I know I say it a lot about great workers, but it's true, they really are.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was good back then when he was coming to, was it Chaotic, right?
Yes.
He did that that trade with the Kevin Knight.
Yeah, that's right.
Trading talent back and forth.
They were doing that with him and who's the other guy? Jim Kettner.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Who Jim Kettner did not like me.
No?
No.
Well, I'll tell you what, they had Andre Lyons in the Super 8.
Yep.
I think that's where he had his very last match because of his knee.
Yeah, his knees he had no ACL left
Dude,
at all.
Andre Lyons, please come on the show. Mark Bourne, Mighty Minnie, please come on the show.
Guys, I'll come on with you.
I'll come on together with Mavi. You know, honestly.
I'll come on with you. They consider that a threat.
Dude, I'm serious. I was a huge fan of both those guys.
I was too.
Both those guys.
I was too.
You know what I'm a big fan of, though, right now? Alec Price and Ichiban.
Okay. Alec Price, I haven't seen as much of as Ichiban. Ichiban is one of the, I've only seen a little of his, but from his demeanor backstage, he's one of the nicest people.
Nice.
He's a very nice guy, very respectful.
Yeah.
You know, and I walked into a situation recently where basically, I don't know why, I walked in a room full of wrestlers. They're all looking at their shoes and not shaking anybody's hand. Wow. And I'm not a big, I got to know.
I hear you.
But, he was the only one that came up to me and my wife and shook my hand,
Yeah,
and
he's been trained right.
Slick's got a good one there. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I'm very impressed by both of those guys. There's only 40 seconds left. So I want to meet Landon. Because I'm a huge baby guy. I love babies.
We'll have to swing him by for you.
Oh my gosh!
I can't get him on camera or anything like that. But, no. But he's a cute little guy. He really is.
Man, it sounds like me and you are a lot alike. Your kids, like my kids, are always telling me to stop doing something. Always.
Yeah.
Dad, stop.
Yeah, we've flipped to the parents now.
Yeah, they're the parents now, and except for Sarah. Sarah still loves me so much that she's young. She never, whatever. It's time. Mav, thank you very much,
Great to be on, buddy.
Yeah. Well, peace. Hi, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. Listen, I could use a little help to grow my YouTube channel. So if you could please like, share, and subscribe. That's most importantly, subscribe. Send me a direct message, and I'll give you a shout out here on the show. My YouTube channel is real simple. It's just my name, Leo Connors. Thanks in advance. Peace.